What's up, cinephiles? Welcome back to Inglorious Podcasters. I'm Michael.
And I'm Chasen.
And the Oscars happened. And it's probably my favorite one in many, many years.
Yeah, I would agree. We had just a slew of great films this year. A lot of people talking about cinema is dead. I totally disagree. And that just goes to, show how difficult it must have been to make any types of choices during the Oscars. However, I'd like to point out that I think I only got 2 wrong from my predictions.
It's false. No way. Pure fiction.
I haven't gone back into the video and checked. I think I got maybe like three or 4 wrong.
Yeah.
Which is amazing compared to most years. Most years I get a lot of them wrong. And I was happy with most of them. I think the most upset I was all night was F1 not getting best editing.
Yeah, we both got that one wrong. I think One Battle After Another won that one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's just go through the awards. One of the big no-brainers is Avatar winning Best Visual Effects. That was always going to happen. We knew it was going to happen, but
I think that was they've won all 3 years, right?
I believe they have.
Yeah.
I believe they have, and rightfully so. Anytime that there's an Avatar movie, it always has the best visual effects by a mile. That being said, that was a really good category this year. Outside, there are good VFX, obviously, in Jurassic World Rebirth, but nothing revolutionary. All the other ones in that category were amazing. Particularly F1 and The Lost Bus how just invisible the VFX are.
I'm trying to think how I feel about that. When you're doing something that's groundbreaking, like what Avatar did on the first one, it felt groundbreaking. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And now with the last 2 movies, it feels equal or repetitive. It's like, okay, they figured out how to do this masterfully, and then they did the same thing. It's like, hey, don't break it, or if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how they executed. Whereas in F1, I like to think of VFX primarily as, can you tell? Like, if you're watching a movie and you can't tell that there are 500 VFX composites, then as a VFX artist, you're winning.
Yeah, those are generally my favorite VFX. Are the VFX that I have to go watch a VFX breakdown to even know what's VFX or what's not. Those are generally my favorite. We're currently going and rewatching Lord of the Rings in theaters right now, and those movies are over 20 years old now. The first one is now 25 years old.
I'd like to let's talk about that for a second, not to go off on too much of a tangent. So for everybody listening, one of our friends has never seen the trilogy, the greatest trilogy ever made, The Lord of the Rings, and so it's airing in the Alamo, and so we've been going and watching all of them. Next up is Return of the King this coming Friday, so he'll get a chance to experience that for the first time in theaters, which I'm jealous of. However, and tell me if you felt this way, Smeagol, I don't know if it's because of the technology of how things are getting projected, but I remember, without a doubt, watching it in theaters and being like, holy crap, you can't tell at all. And now it's like, I don't know if they've done a remastering or if they just put it out and because it was edited in a certain format, and now it's being projected in a different format, because we are 20 years removed.
It's always been this way, and I've seen them so many times at this point that it doesn't even faze me anymore. There are moments in the movies where the rendering on him is much better. There will be scenes where he looks almost photoreal, when he gets out of the pool.
Yeah.
He looks almost photoreal. And then there are other shots where it's very, very apparent.
Yeah.
The rendering is just different from scene to scene.
So here's my theory. 20 years ago, we didn't have digital projectors. They were all bulb.
Yeah.
We were watching stuff on film 20 years ago. So that plays a huge part of why it looked so freaking good 20 years ago, because we're watching, an overlay reprinted on the actual celluloid. Then the celluloid gets shipped. Yeah. And the theaters play that back over a projection screen. Now they're all digital, and so it's not exactly the same.
Yeah.
So you feel it. You definitely feel it. And I wish, for his sake, that he would have gotten to experience, the trilogy in that manner, the same way we did, because it was seamless, and everybody knew that. Like, you want to talk about a snub? The fact that Return of the King was the only one that won an Oscar. Granted, it won 11.
The first couple won some technical categories, a handful, but missed all the big categories. Didn't win any.
All right,
but yeah, you want to talk about all-time snubs? All three of those movies should have just been raking in the awards.
Yeah.
I want to talk about costume design real quick. Frankenstein. Of all of the Frankenstein's wins, I mean, it's maybe one of the ones that I can maybe understand. I personally kind of wanted Marty Supreme to win that.
Look, we all know why. This is a political thing. You have a monster movie, costume designer is without a doubt going to win. Now, let's break that down though, because I'm fairly positive that it's because it should feel like it's otherworldly.
Yeah.
So when you look at a monster, it's like, how do you clothe a monster? How are you making this type of statement? And I think they did, from what after watching the movie, I know that they did a good job with the costumes. I'll tell you what else they did a freaking good job on is production design, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, here's the thing with Marty Supreme. Marty Supreme and Sinners both are from an era.
Yeah.
And then it's just, not just, I don't want to belittle
it's research. It's research, and
yeah.
it's making sure that the costumes are period accurate, but
it goes a little bit beyond that. I would say that it goes into how a person dresses signifies their personality as well. So not just in that era, but how like Marty, the stylistic choice of Marty having the open shirt with the tank top all the time has a bit of verboseness about it, has a bit of confidence in that character. Like, that character is narcissistic, and that it shows in the wardrobe. And then you go to Smoke and Stack in Sinners, who are equally as confident, but on the other end of the spectrum. They want to stand out as capable, highfalutin men, different from the times. They want to stand out as black men in America, and they did so in the way that they dressed. They had the nice fedoras. They had the nice the suits, the three-piece suits, the pocket watches, the gold. Like, they looked like they did not belong where they were.
Yeah.
And their characters carried themselves the same way. They were kind of like, they were feared. And then to go, so in their own right, they're equally, all of those films are equally impressive. Same thing with Fire and Ash. You're building something off
alien wardrobe.
You're building an alien's wardrobe. And I think when you're building something that doesn't necessarily exist, I think it just comes down to like, wow, that's cool, or no, that fits.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Frankenstein won.
Yeah. And then just going right into makeup and hairstyling, also another win for Frankenstein. I think we both saw that one coming.
I was kind of annoyed. Sinners had some great moments, but when you're talking about prosthetics, like, first off, Jacob Elordi spent 400 hours in the makeup chair
Yeah.
during the making of that movie.
And honestly, that alone probably is why it won.
Yeah. After I watched an interview a long time ago with Jim Carrey about when he played the Grinch, and he had a bunch of panic attacks from being inside of the makeup.
Yeah.
Because it's just so suffocating to be in that stuff all day long and to sit there and have somebody literally wrap something around you and make you feel claustrophobic. I didn't realize I apparently am kind of claustrophobic. My niece or my nephew at one point in middle school, their mascot was sick. And so my mom, who was on the Boosters Club, this is like 20 years ago now, was like, hey, Chasen, will you go and put the costume on and get the crowd, riled up? And I was like, yeah, sure. Man, I put that helmet on, and I was in there going, hey, oh God, keep it together, Chasen. These just 5 more minutes, and you make the kids scream and then run, and then, all right, you can take it off. And I got backstage, and I just took the helmet off, and I was like, I'm dying.
I'm horribly claustrophobic.
Yeah, so I get it. Shout out to Jacob Elordi for spending 400 hours in a chair. Also, he had an interview one time where I think in the campaign for doing press on Frankenstein, he was out and about, and somebody had wrote him a long time ago and was like, man, Jacob Elordi is so stiff. He's so boring to watch. I think the only role meant for him is Frankenstein. Or Frankenstein's monster. And I loved his response. He goes, well, I am Frankenstein's monster. So apparently I'm doing something right. So shout out to Jacob Elordi for doing a great job as Frankenstein. And shout out to the makeup and hair department from Frankenstein. What category should we go to next?
All right, now we're getting into the ones where I was really happy with the winner. We got Best Cinematography, Sinners. That was definitely my top choice, and I kind of have been fluctuating back and forth. It's either my favorite or second favorite cinematography of the year. It's either that or Train Dreams. They're both beautiful films, and I was fine with either of them winning.
Also, the big mess up on the Academy's part, because Autumn was the first female ever to win the best cinematography award, and they didn't even mention it until
they didn't
after.
Announce it until when did they announce it up on stage?
Conan O'Brien came out after she had walked off.
That's what it was.
And made a point to recognize the fact that she was the first female. It's incredibly shocking to me because I too was caught off guard by that. I could have sworn that there were other female cinematographers that had won.
It immediately kind of rolled through my head as she was walking up to the stage. I was like, I wonder if there ever has been a female winner in that category before, because I'm betting there's not really been a whole lot of nominees.
Yeah.
So I was like, the odds of one of them having won it before is probably pretty low. And yeah, she was the first one.
She won with grace and well-deserved win for Autumn Archipel. And it's funny because I bet in their household, it is just nonstop conversations, because she's married to Adam Archipel, who is
also
a
DP.
Phenomenal DP as well. I actually want to work with him on an upcoming project. So Adam, if you're listening, I'd love to work with you on an upcoming project, man. Okay, so cinematography. Should we go through the line, or since this is such a big category, should we go through kind of the comparison and analysis of each of the films?
All of these movies had very, very good cinematography. Train Dreams in particular was the other real standout. But Marty Supreme and One Battle After Another are also beautiful looking films. Particularly, I think One Battle, I think, probably had one of the most iconic shots of the year with the front mounted camera on the car going over the hills. That was probably, I would put that, what would you say? That's probably the standout single shot of the year, probably.
It felt cool. It's a super long telephoto lens, and having driven down that exact road multiple times in my life from filming in the deserts just north of LA, I can tell you going over those hills, it really feels fun. And so for Michael Bauman to make you feel that kind of roller coaster, your stomach pulls up into your throat type feeling in those shots, I think says a lot about his skill set. But yeah, I don't know if that's, I'm trying, in terms of technicality and the fact that it is a moving shot and doing so, I would say, yeah, that's probably one of the funnest. It's the most fun shot in the movie.
Yeah.
I think one of the ones that stands out to me, and it's such a simple shot, is the one where Teyana Taylor is shooting the
machine gun.
The machine gun, while pregnant. That's a shot.
And then recreating the shot with her daughter.
Yeah. So those two, I felt were like, those two shots to me were probably my favorites, because it's one of those moments where the cinematographer gets to help tell the director's story the most beautifully, the most beautiful way possible, because it's kind of, it's showing the similarities between the two characters.
I think one of my favorite shots from the movie also, I just remembered this one, the one where the camera's mounted on the inside of the door, and when she peels off and the door swings shut, yeah. That was an awesome shot.
I've done that exact shot a couple of times.
It happened twice. They did that shot twice this year because they did it in Weapons.
Yeah.
Weapons also did that shot.
It's in it's in a lot of movies this year. And if you're listening and you know who did that particular technique first, be sure to comment on one of our posts. Okay, so I still have not seen Train Dreams. I need to do it, but let's go into Marty Supreme briefly.
Marty Supreme, I love that the look. I don't know what camera they shot it on, but it really kind of evoked that the feeling of the era. Mm-hmm. Super grainy. I wonder. I gotta look up what that was shot on. What was your favorite shot from Marty Supreme?
It's probably him playing in the tournament, in the really big tournament. Not at the end, but in the middle of the movie, where they're inside of what I'm assuming it's when he takes his first loss. That, to me, that whole scene is just a masterclass of making sure that the audience feels like an audience member, meaning, the high contrasted lighting of the overhead setup, making sure that it kind of spotlights each of the tables so that every shot, no matter what it's covered from, you feel like you're in those stands watching the event. And that, to me, really drew me into that moment. I
think my favorite shot was probably the establishing shot of that ping pong hall in the first tournament scene, because it reminded me. It was very evocative of one of my favorite movies. It was just like that shot in The Color of Money, with at the ending tournament with the big overhead shot of all the tables. Very evocative of Color of Money.
Yep, I do agree. I wonder what if that was kind of an inspiration.
It might have been.
Okay, so we've got. Did we actually go into Sinners at all, or do we just kind of? My favorite shot.
I think it definitely won. I would say it definitely won because of the different formats that it was shot in, for sure. Switching between them and making it sometimes making it very obvious. Like, a lot of movies, when it switches between formats, it just from frame to frame, it just boom, it'll go into IMAX, but having the actual bars slowly disappear before they break into the barn, really highlighting the cinematography for sure.
Let's see. Going for some of my favorite shots, I would say one would have to be when the young man or the man burst in the church at the very beginning, where he's silhouetted by the outside lighting behind him. That's number one. Number two, and you could probably reverse these for favorites in terms of what it's saying. But the very first time that we see the main villain at dusk and the glint in his eye and the blood on his teeth, the vampire, that to me is just money. And then in terms of technicality of coverage and interlaced, VFX, I don't know what you would call that scene, but where the passage of time in music, where you get every era of music from, historically accurate African tribal music, all the way to the beatboxing and breakdancing and DJing, as well as the blues. And
that was definitely the most memorable shot of the movie for sure, was that big oneer where it goes around and then going up to the ceiling with it on fire and kind of falling down and then going out to Jack O'Connell's character. Yeah. That was one of my favorite shots, was the push in on his face with the red eyes. My favorite shot was probably in the morning after, spoiler alert, after all the vampires burn up and he sends his cousin away. When he's just sitting loading the BAR, that shot was really, really good. Just compositionally, and also
you talking about when smoke? Is it smoke or stack?
It's smoke.
Smoke, yeah. Smoke survives, right?
Yeah,
yeah. So, if I'm not mistaken, the very first shot of the first trailer that was released is that shot.
Yeah, that's when it goes back into 70 mil ultra widescreen.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
So shout out to Autumn Archipel for that win. All right, let's go. Where do we go next?
Want to do production design next?
Let's go over. Let's just honor all the winners real quick. Let's for documentary. Feature films, your winner was Mr. Nobody against Putin. Your winner for documentary short film was All the Empty Rooms. Your winner for international feature film was Norway. Let's talk about that this category for a second, because I saw a bunch of these and I did not see sentimental value. You called it. I was saying that, if I'm not mistaken, I think my prediction was going to be The Secret Agent, not because of how much I liked it, but because of the energy around the campaign that happened. So I'll let you speak on sentimental value.
They really campaigned hard for The Secret Agent, but it didn't really have any momentum as far as wins during awards season.
Yeah.
They were really pushing for it, but I think everybody was kind of swinging more towards sentimental value. It had way more momentum behind it because pretty much the only major nominations for The Secret Agent were Best Picture and Best Actor. With sentimental value, they had 4 different acting nominations.
Yeah.
Which is the most of any movie, I believe, of the year. Can you think of one that had more? I don't
more
think any
acting nominations?
Yeah, I think 4 acting nominations was the most that any single movie had.
No, you're right. It is.
So it had that going for it. Plus, I think everybody just, it seems like outside of like Rotten Tomato scores, which Secret Agent I believe had the highest, everybody just kind of seemed to think that Sentimental Value was the better film.
Having seen The Secret Agent, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Sentimental Value was the better picture. It was well executed in production value. The acting was superb, but man, is it a slow burn. Woo! Okay, let's move on to live action short film. Your winner was a tie. First time in a long time that we've had a tie. It was a split between The Singers and Two People Exchanging Saliva. That sounded weird how I said that. Saliva. Sounded like I said saliva. Two People Exchanging Saliva. Let's see. Any other ones that we're not going to dive into wholeheartedly?
Did you say best animated short film?
I did not get to best animated short. Wait, where is it? Oh, animated short film. The Girl Who Cried Pearls won best animated short film. Animated feature film, obviously, I think we all called this one, was K-Pop Demon Hunters, which also takes me to... Where's the best song? I'm singing. There we go. Okay. Music. The winner for original song was Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters, and I called that one as well, and I think that one deserved to win. I loved I Lied to You, but Golden just has a different energy about it. So.
Plus, they just love giving that award to animated films.
Yes, they do. You think in some way it's kind of like a patronizing effort to like honor
100%
the animated film?
I mean, that's not to say that it doesn't deserve it sometimes, but that's 100% what it is. Is, hey, you know, the only other award you might win tonight is Best Animated Feature, so here's another one.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely a...
Didn't Toy Story win Best Picture?
No.
No?
No.
Has an animated film ever won Best Picture?
I do not believe it has.
Let's Google that real quick.
Because first off, animated movies have only even been eligible for awards for a very short amount of time, comparatively to how long films have been around. And yeah, I mean, I might be mistaken, but I do not believe that a animated film has ever won Best Picture.
Okay, so nominations, you're correct. No animated film has ever won. Most notable for their nominations, Toy Story 3 was nominated, which is kind of bonkers to me. Up was nominated, and Beauty and the Beast.
If I'm not mistaken, Toy Story would have been Toy Story 3 would have been nominated the first year that they went to 10 nominations. I think that might have been the year that they changed Best Picture from a limit of 5 noms to 10. It was either that year or the year before that they had made that change.
Yeah. All right, going back into since we just did music, let's go into sound, and let's talk about our choice and the winner, F1.
Both F1. Yep. Yeah, I thought for sure that this was going to be one of 2 wins for it, but it did not end up getting best editing. But it was 1 out of 2 for the ones that we wanted it to win and the ones that we thought it was going to win. This was kind of a no-brainer. It had won the Guild Award for Best Sound, so once it did that, it was pretty much a lock for the Oscar.
Let's see. Okay, so let's see. We have One Battle After Another, Sinners, Seurat, and Frankenstein were all the other nominees. Sound-wise, I don't think there's any other movie that even came close in execution for what was going on. Sinners is a close one because of the fact that it's so heavily influenced with music.
Yeah.
In many cases, like this is like just a phenomenal music video.
Yeah.
Not to diminish Ryan Coogler's work or any of the actors or anybody, but music videos are difficult because you're putting images to the emotion and the vibe and the sound and the silkiness of a song while still keeping the world alive. So I would say the closest runner-up for that category would probably have been Sinners.
I would say probably Sinners as well.
Yeah.
I mean, first off, let's break down what this category is now. This used to be two separate categories, sound design and sound mixing.
Yeah.
The sound mix on F1 has to
is-
be insane.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jay, I don't know if he texted you the like screenshot of
Yeah.
the timeline in Premiere of F1. It had to have been the most insane sound mix. First off, we didn't really mention it when we were talking about best editing. 5,000 hours of footage they shot for F1.
That is so extreme. Oh my God. Like, let's go to editing. Let's roll straight into that because we need to talk about that. Film editing. Okay, so your winner was One Battle After Another. Now, granted, that movie is paced exceptionally well.
Yeah.
And it keeps you. It is a high octane, full throttle from the jump, and it keeps you on that path. So they did a great job editing. However, F1, man.
I mean, just in terms
F1.
of different, I think most of these movies, the editing was very well executed. I did find it funny that Sentimental Value was nominated for this because that was actually kind of one of the criticisms I've been seeing of that movie is the editing. So it was interesting to see that get nominated. But in terms of execution, all these movies were very well edited. In terms of difficulty, F1 takes the cake here.
Yeah.
By a mile. Editing that movie would have been a nightmare.
Yeah, because you've probably got 1,000 awesome shots of one thing, and it's like, okay, well, which one do I pick? Which one fits?
Yeah.
How do I keep this type of storytelling intact? You want to talk about high octane. You're going 200 miles an hour in an F1 car. Yeah. So, nonetheless, One Battle After Another won. It pulled. That was one of the ones that I predicted incorrectly.
I think another reason that one probably upset me more than any of the other awards wasn't just the snub to F1. One Battle wouldn't have even been my second choice. Marty Supreme would have been my second choice for best editing.
Yeah. I would definitely put best editing or the runner-up at Marty Supreme. Okay, casting.
Let's do. Oh, we're gonna do casting.
Yeah, let's do casting. Then we'll go to production design.
One Battle got best casting. This was one of my bigger surprises of the night. I for sure thought this was gonna be Sinners.
If I'm not mistaken, I wanted it to be Sinners, but I think my prediction was One Battle After Another, just because I knew that I predicted that Sinners was gonna win Best Actor. And it's so funny to me that Sinners won Best Actor and One Battle After Another won for Best Casting.
Best casting.
And it's like, that to me, I don't know how. That's a weird one. That like
given that it won 0 acting awards.
Yeah, objectively.
It didn't get any of the acting awards.
It is baffling to me that a person can win for Best Casting and none of. Now, hold on. Because even though each individual performance didn't top, their competitors in their field, it did win Best Picture.
It did. What really surprised me about this one was that Sinners had won Best Ensemble Cast at the Actor Awards.
Maybe that's a bit of politics with them being like, okay, this won at this major fest or this award ceremony. We're going to give, the best cast to one battle. Nonetheless,
honestly, I'd have been fine with One Battle, Marty Supreme, or Sinners winning this one. But I for sure thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be Sinners. My personal pick for this, once again, would have been Marty Supreme.
yeah, dude, Marty Supreme was just such a great role, man.
Yeah, that whole cast, all the supporting characters, all the background characters, all of them felt so real, and it made that world feel so lived in.
Let's go ahead and do production design real quick because I want to keep on this casting track. Your winner, we said this in our preview for the Oscars, or our lead up to the Oscars episode. You don't have a monster movie and expect not to win for best production design. Like if you have a monster movie and you don't win, that's got to be a tough feeling to have, because the whole world, like in most cases when you've got a monster movie, or for that matter, it's not just a monster movie. This is like folklore, and in a world where it's like not dystopian, but very much so like tangential to what the real world looked like.
Yeah.
And these production designers did a phenomenal job. I don't know if you watched it, right?
Yeah.
The burial scene. Man, you want to talk about like the casket and the red and the black and the white snow. Man, that was just beautiful.
This category is definitely an example of the difference between looking just objectively at the award and subjectively. Objectively, Frankenstein did have the best production design out of all these movies. However, my favorite production design was Marty Supreme.
Absolutely. I'm gonna
just
go back to back with that.
Perfectly recreating 1950s New York City.
Yeah.
That was definitely my favorite production.
It's not just like perfectly recreating the 1950s. It's when you go, like, the macro shots are phenomenal from a production design standpoint, but those are all often heavily influenced by VFX, because it's not practical to spend all that money to change the stoplights and change the signs and remove all, like, they do all of that in VFX. Mm-hmm. Now that's at the behest of the production designer, but when you go, like, the cool thing about Marty Supreme was when you go into the bedrooms, when you go into the cars, when you go and look at the big arena of where all the tables were, like what the parquet floor looked like, there's just so many like minute details that they paid attention to. Now, with saying that, Sinners deserves, to be brought up in that world as well, because it too is kind of a monster movie.
Yeah.
And their sets were phenomenally executed. You felt like you were in a, bayou bump, backwoods, shindig.
Yeah.
When you're in that, what would you call that? That's not a shanty. It's not a shack. It's like a.
They call it juke joint.
But like that set was phenomenal. And then I don't know if you watched the making of
the town
with the train and all that stuff, which I've used that exact same strategy or execution in one of my films, putting a train in it, but shooting around that and building all of the small there. So and you might not be aware of this term, but they're called smalls. So like these tiny little things that we've got, these little trinkets back here, those are called the smalls. Like these little things on the desk that make the world feel really lived in, was pretty profound in Sinners. But you're right. My choice, if I'm not mistaken, my desire was Marty Supreme wins. Mm-hmm. My prediction was that Frankenstein was going to win.
One Battle also had really good production design. That like headquarters of the Christmas Adventures Club.
Oh yeah, dude,
crazy.
That was beautiful. And what's weird is like it felt. So there's this unique feeling of a time capsule effect. Mm-hmm. When you're doing movies like One Battle After Another, you have this from a production design perspective. or if I were, working on a film like that, directing a movie, if I ever got the opportunity to direct something that was of this scale and caliber, my first thought is these secret societies are really old. Mm-hmm. And even though we're set in modern times, like when they go into that bunker, when they go into what was it called? The Christmas
Adventurers Club.
Yeah, Christmas Adventurers Club. It felt like it was stuck in 1955 or something.
Yeah.
Like from the paneling and the overhead light design.
Very Kubrick.
Very Kubrick. Good point. Yeah, very Kubrick. But it's that, you're right. Like overall, I don't necessarily think that I would put one battle after another from a production design standpoint against either one of the two that I just named. However, there are moments in one battle where you're just like, good God, this is completely, you just feel like you're walking through the set.
Yeah.
The Christmas Adventurers Club was one, and then the other was the detaining centers. Mm-hmm. It felt like you were a captive when you're in that, and that's all due to the production designer. Yeah. You know? So. And
then Hamnet, the reconstruction of the Globe Theater was amazing.
I mean, all of Hamnet. And I don't know the from a difficulty standpoint, I can only imagine how hard it must be to recreate a world that's 200 and something years old.
More, I believe. I think.
Is it not the late 1600s? Well, yeah. So like almost. Let's see. That would be 350
William
years.
Shakespeare. Born 1564,
Ooh.
Died 1616.
Ooh, yeah, 1616. So yeah, that's 400
years ago.
410 years. So yeah, creating a world that's 400 years old has to just be a daunting task, and to do so accurately. Again, just diving. I'm sure the production design team just dove into research and just trying to be as accurate as possible, which leads you to the subjective versus objective, where it's just like from an objective perspective, shoot, maybe that one should have won.
Yeah,
like if you're talking about accuracy, if you're talking about like that film needs to be, it deserves to be in this category. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, let's go on to best score. I saw this one coming from a mile away, and I was really happy that they ended up going with it. Sinners. This score was amazing.
If I'm not mistaken, I think this is Ludwig's third win.
I think it is.
Dude is so young and so freaking good. Like, man, is he good. Yeah, congrats, Ludwig. That is a job well done for the third time.
I just love that a movie won Best Score for a score that was very, very blues heavy, guitar heavy.
Yep.
Like generally the scores that win this award are usually, very orchestral, classical instruments. Mm-hmm. You don't see a lot of movies win Best Score for,
rock,
steel guitar.
Yeah.
And, a lot of these kind of country, very much country music, blues music, southern like bayou music, instruments.
Two that really stood out to me in this category was One Battle After Another and Begonia, both of which I don't even know the word to describe the type, but it's like
very experimental, lot of
arpeggio, like plucking of the dum 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 dum. That to me, it served both of those films, Begonia and One Battle. It's like to me, the score felt like the main character's existence. And I think that's like, I aim for that whenever I'm doing my scores, is you want themes for each of the people. And I think that just like how in Dune, like when oh my gosh, why am I blanking?
Which character are you thinking of?
Not the character.
Oh.
Hans Zimmer. Good Lord. Okay, so when Hans Bobby, goes into making his characters, like I watched his masterclass, and it's just like, I love how at the beginning he's like, I'm convinced I have no idea how to do your film. And it's not until you start talking about who the character is, what the world feels like, and you start picking these weird instruments to do so, to build the world, that's when it all starts to come together. And Christopher Nolan, one of the very first people he talks to after he's done with the script isn't a DP. It isn't the main cast members. It's his freaking composer. And that to me, says a lot. I've actually adopted that exact same strategy. I'm working on 3 different scripts right now, and I've already started talking to composers for how to build the sound that's going to complement the lifeblood of the project. But Sinners definitely deserve that win. Ludwig is phenomenal.
I think dissonant was the word you were looking for. The very chaotic and dissonant scores for Bugonia and One Battle After Another.
Dissonant. Yeah, but at the same time, even though I don't know if dissonance is the right word. It was more so adventurous. Like One Battle is definitely adventurous, like because he's always on a journey. Like you feel like, but his journey is very staccato-y and very like, it's not smooth. Does that make sense? And they did a really good job in One Battle. Like Johnny Greenwood did a great job in that film. Same thing with Jerskin in Begonia. Did a phenomenal job of making you feel just like the oddball. Like, is this going to work? But yeah, we can move on.
Let's go on to best screenplays. Let's do adapted screenplay first. One Battle won. I think. Well, we saw the winners of both of these coming for sure. One Battle winning best adapted and Sinners winning best original.
I think we called these 2, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Both of us predicted that Sinners and One Battle were going to win. With adapted screenplay, yeah, I'm 100% fine with One Battle winning that one. The only one that I would maybe say should have won it is probably Bugonia, honestly. That movie's so well written, and it's so funny. It's such a funny movie.
If you ask me, it went from. I think the reason that movie probably was overlooked in a large capacity was the ending, because of how playful it got.
Yeah.
It was very visceral, very oppressive. Not oppressive. What's the word that I'm looking for? You get to experience what it's like to be a conspiracy theorist who, to the rest of the world, is off of his rocker. Yeah. And then you find out that this guy is right, only to be comically thrust into a slapsticky ending. Like, it's...
I love the ending.
The ending, so I like her. I loved her going back into the office. Spoiler alert, guys. I loved him going into the closet and getting blown up and the head hitting her. All of that is still very visceral and very real, as in like, hey, what would an alien be doing here? Mm-hmm. I think where I was lost, or where it kind of separated into 2 different movies for me, was when they got to the mothership. And like, I get the fact of like the hair And I think it's just hilarious. Like, oh, we couldn't contact you because
Because
cut your hair off. I think it's well done in the comic aspect of the film, but overall, that movie went from very visceral to being like, honestly, it kind of reminded me of like Weapons. Like,
and I loved the ending of Weapons.
and
too.
I don't necessarily like how I wish it would have stayed just as visceral, and instead of leaning heavily into the comedy of why Amy Madigan's character being ripped apart, I think it should have lended itself to just being what she was. Like, it's not funny what she was doing to those kids. And so for her death to have kind of a humor behind it, I felt like it kind of did a disservice to the children that she had stolen and harmed for all of those times, where it's just like, it's not funny to them. Those kids are fucked up now.
Yeah.
They're traumatized. So
see, but that to me, the comedy of that scene, to some people it might. To me, it doesn't feel forced, because if you're thinking about that scene from the perspective of the children, you're right, it's not funny. But the comedy of that scene comes from showing it from all the neighbors' point of view, because they have no idea what's going on. To them, it looks just like an old woman's being chased down by a bunch of kids.
Yeah, but even then,
and so the comedy really only comes in because you're seeing it from the neighbor's point of view.
No, I don't think it's just that. I think it's the scoring. I think it's the sound design.
Well, there is no score. Remember, the score drops out in that scene.
That's my point. You're allowing your audience to be just a person on the street watching, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and she running through the yards, and you've got these, feral children that are still under a freaking spell. Mind you, remember, the children are under a spell to kill her.
Yeah.
So the children they become, obviously, they're the weapons.
Yeah.
And to end it in a scene where they just come to, and they're all standing over a bloody body that's been disfigured.
It's not even a body anymore.
It's just a pile of mush.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like it definitely took away from, oh my gosh, the main character, Josh Brolin's character. Good Lord. It took away from his connection to me, to his son. Like, it was supposed to be heartfelt, and like he grabs and picks up his son and takes his son away from the pain and the agony and the heartache.
Yeah. But
it's like, for the 4 minutes leading up to that, it's literally the audience is laughing their behinds off.
Yeah.
Did I watch? I watched that with you, right?
Yeah, we saw it in Chinese theater.
And everybody was just laughing out loud. Like, the whole theater was erupting. And I'm curious if that was by design, or it was just like, because of certain choices that were made, that's where we ended up.
To me, there is no other genre that can just easily slip into comedy more than horror. Horror so often can just easily just slip right into comedy.
Yeah.
Probably better than any other genre.
But the reason that I don't know. I'm annoyed for myself, because I'm like, I thought that movie was so good. And then you have 4 minutes where it's just like, dang it, man. Like, I loved the fact that I get to be a fly on a wall in a town where some crazy, phenomenon is happening, and this mystery is being, unfolded by two different people fighting from two different sides of the same coin to get their own answers. And it's scary because it feels like it could be real.
Yeah.
And then right at the end, you get this thing like, oh, this is a movie. Mm-hmm. That part hurt me a little as a viewer, because I'm like, dang it, bro. Like, I felt like I was watching a perfectly executed true crime type movie. And then we get to this part, even with The Witch, like I believe that like the same thing with like Down in the Bayou when they do the black magic and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. When you're watching, films about that type of human nature, it lends itself to being like, no, this definitely has happened to people.
Yeah.
Like this type of stuff is real and it does happen.
Yeah.
And then to make light of it right at the end, it felt like a disservice to even the writers themselves, where it's just like, dude, you had a perfect film, and then you made another film, at the end. Now because of that, you get to leave the theater feeling a little bit lighter. Yeah, it's not like
after a very heavy movie
you get to feel a little bit lighter. So
off.
if that was what they were going for, then kudos, you did a great job.
Yeah.
If it wasn't what you were going for and you were trying to keep us in that world of like the horror that these children have gone through, and the political statement of what we as society are doing to kids these days, then I think you kind of dropped the ball if that's what you were going for.
Yeah.
Because you did a perfect job of it in the first 2 acts. But
let's go on to original screenplay. I definitely saw Sinners winning this one for sure. This to me is one where I'm not upset that Sinners won because it was a very good screenplay. However, Marty Supreme was not only my favorite original screenplay of the year, that was just my favorite writing of any movie of the year.
I will agree, writing wise, Marty Supreme should have won. The dynamics between the characters, the simplicity of some, the originality of most, the uniqueness and narcissism of even the mirrored image.
Getting you to like Timothée Chalamet's character. He's not a good dude. He's just, you would never be friends with this guy in real life.
Right.
But the movie gets you to like him. Now, part of that is on Chalamet's performance. He definitely has to do a lot of work to get you to like him. But then, a lot of it comes from the writing, though.
I was going to say, I would say in that regard, most of it comes from the writing, because the writing is going to tell this guy what to say, where he's doing it at, and the director is going to put him in that world and give him kind of the energy of what this character needs to do.
Yeah.
But you're right. There's a reason that Timothée Chalamet was nominated for Best Actor. Yeah. This movie, I would have been more than happy for Sinners or Marty Supreme to have won Best Picture. I would have been more than happy for Timothée Chalamet or Michael B. Jordan to win. I am proud to say that I chose correctly here. And which takes us to where do you want to go next? You want to go?
Let's get into the acting categories. So we'll start with Best Supporting Actress. This was maybe the most feel good moment of the ceremony. Amy Madigan winning. Her acceptance speech was great. 40 years after her first nomination, she wins for a horror movie
of all things. Well, she did a perfect look. Again, I go back to. God, was Agnes is the character's name, right?
Agnes in Hamnet?
No.
Gladys is her character in Weapons.
I'm sorry, everyone. I am apparently having a stroke today.
Right. Jesse Buckley's character in Hamnet.
Gladys, the character of Gladys is just as creepy as can be.
Yeah.
I mean, ugh.
She was unrecognizable too. I had to look. If you remember, I had to look up
who played
the actress after we got out of the movie because I could not pin it, and I think I was on my phone as we were walking out of the theater, and I was like, "Holy shit, that was the lady from Field of Dreams."
Yeah. Congratulations, Amy Madigan, for a superb job. I think that was a well-deserved win.
One of the most memorable performances of the year, for sure. That being said, all of that being said, love that she won. This category has some big
Yeah.
misses.
Wunmi Mosaku
Emily Blunt is not even on here.
Yeah. Well,
and
I haven't seen Sentimental Value, so I can't speak on either one of those.
Elle and Ingo were both very, very good. The best performance of the year from a supporting actress was Emily Blunt in The Smashing Machine, and she's not even on this list.
She did a phenomenal job.
That being said,
I'm very
glad
happy.
Amy Madigan
Yeah,
won.
I'm very happy for Amy Madigan. That was pretty cool. Okay, so actress in a leading role. Do we want to go over this one?
Let's do supporting actor.
Okay. Another, just perfect performance. This dude won and should have won and needs all the glory for this particular portrayal of his character. But
we were
Sean
kind of
Penn,
thinking that he was not gonna win. We both.
I didn't. I knew he was gonna win.
We both wanted him to win, but I don't think.
The only person that I thought had a chance of dethroning that performance was Benicio del Toro for the same movie.
I thought that they could have gone Benicio. I thought that there was a chance they might go Delroy. I thought there was a slight chance that they could go Stellan or Jacob.
The thing with Delroy's character was I don't necessarily as the, we'll call him the mentor figure in the project. Mm-hmm. I don't think he was given enough meat, enough scenes.
I agree with that statement. However, he did win the actor award for Best Supporting Actor.
He did.
So I thought that there was a chance that they could have gone any other direction with this, but I was fingers crossed. I was chanting at the screen, "Please be Sean Penn, please be Sean Penn." And when they announced it, I was like, yes, they actually got it right.
Yeah.
Because Sean Penn was amazing in that movie. Easily my favorite part of the movie was
without a doubt. His character arc was my favorite. In my opinion, I think the movie is about Sean Penn's character. I would say
he probably has close to the most screen time, doesn't he?
Well, the movie only exists because of his character.
Yeah.
Think about that. If it's not for that one guy doing what he's doing, your leads don't have a story. They're not involved in the story.
Yeah. Yeah. He's the only connecting piece between, the cult.
The two worlds.
Yeah.
So even though he's not the main character, you could argue that he is, because if it wasn't for him, nobody's on the run. Nobody's looking for this one person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is a guy with a hard-on for Teyana, literally a hard-on for Teyana Taylor. Let me rephrase that. A hard-on for Teyana Taylor's character because of his hidden desire for black women.
Yeah.
And his racism, having this internal battle, it just dawned on me. Oh my gosh. One battle after another. Paul Thomas Anderson, if you meant to do this, you are a freaking genius.
I mean, he is a genius.
He is a genius, but the title, One Battle After Another, with the duality of each character has their own battle. You've got the bigger picture, which is One Battle After Another, which is from an actual war perspective of hey, domestic terrorism versus, international terrorism versus all the different battles that the powers that be have to face every single day. But Sean Penn's character, his battle is the fact that he really wants a black woman, but he's still too racist to get over it.
That movie's so funny. And that's why, honestly, the ending scene bugs me so much, is that movie is a perfect satire up until the last scene, and that's when it kind of stops being satire. That's when it starts being oh no, this is very
political,
serious,
yeah,
and
political
this is a political
statement.
thing. Up until that final scene, that movie is at satire at its best.
Yes.
And then that last scene kind of makes it seem like it's not trying to be satire, and it's like, oh man, like why?
Well, on the flip side of it, that's how I felt about Weapons.
Yeah.
It's not satire until the ending, and then it's just like, haha, wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you just took me out of this. So it's funny that you bring that up. Paul Thomas Anderson for.
Do you want to go there, or I was going to finish the acting categories?
Yeah, sorry.
Let's go Best Actress. This was the big no-brainer. I'd be lying if I said that there wasn't like a 1% chance like inside that I was like, oh man, they could mess this up. They could mess it up. But
there is no way they could mess this up.
It was a lock. It was the biggest lock of the night. There was literally zero indication that they were going to go anywhere else with this other than Jessie Buckley.
What's phenomenal about awards like the Oscars is it forces you to investigate the winners.
Yeah.
And I find that to be a beautiful part of our industry because it wasn't until I saw Hamnet that I even was curious about who I never had even given her a thought.
I'd seen her a few different times. I really enjoyed her.
If I had, I didn't remember it because, and I don't even think that I had because I went back and watched some scenes from other movies of hers, and I was just like, holy crap, I need to watch all things Jessie Buckley. Mm-hmm. She is a
You can skip
force.
You can skip that one.
I heard that one wasn't a good movie.
It's
two
generally
of my
considered
friends,
by far Alex Garland's worst movie that he's ever made.
Two of my friends went and saw it in theaters, and I was supposed to go with them, but I was filming, and so I didn't. And they texted me right after and was like, you definitely didn't miss anything. This movie was trash.
I saw a quote the other day. Somebody said that she will go down as one of the all-time greats. Like she's just poised to become one of the greatest actresses ever,
without a doubt. I think this.
I can't remember who that quote was from, but it was another.
This
actress.
performance, in my opinion, is about to unlock a door or a row of doors for Jessie Buckley that is going to put her, like your quote said, she's going to be given the opportunity to become exactly who she is, which is one of the best actors of all time.
I did think it was funny, though, that she won Best Actress while she has a movie in theaters that's getting absolutely roasted right now.
It is getting roasted. I haven't seen it yet. The
Bride is getting absolutely trashed right now by everybody.
It's funny because I've got friends in LA that went
horrible.
They went to the premiere, and one of them, I actually trust her judgment on film choices and critiquing, and she absolutely loved it. So I'm curious if it's just one of those movies that will be for
people walking out in people walking out of the theater in droves.
Oh wow!
For this one,
man, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That reminds me. Let's bring this up. In Hollywood, how many times have you seen it? And I can think of two right off the top of my head right now where an idea will happen and they just beat it over the head. So here's one would be how many Shakespeare movies came out this year? You had King Hamlet or Hamlet. You had Hamlet with Riz, and you had Hamnet with Jessie Buckley. Mm. Simultaneously, you have the Frankenstein movie from Guillermo del Toro and the Bride movie, also starring Jessie Buckley, in theaters. And then they did it alone. They've done it so many times throughout history where it's like the studios just call one another and go, "What are you doing a movie on?" And be like, "I'm doing a Shakespeare movie." Okay, we got to do a Shakespeare movie too.
Ants and Bugs Life, Armageddon, Deep Impact,
White
House Down,
and Olympus Has Fallen is quite possibly the most copied movie idea. Like, I'm talking down to
Wyatt Earp and Tombstone. That's another one that
Tombstone
came out
is so much better, though.
Oh, yeah. 1,000,000%. And most of the time, that's the case. Most of the time, one of the movies is way better than the other.
Yeah.
I thought Olympus Has Fallen was way better than White House Down.
Yeah.
Armageddon, I would say, is generally considered way better than Deep Impact.
Correct.
Tombstone is considered miles better than Wyatt Earp.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Jessie Buckley actually went straight from filming The Bride to Hamnet. I think she wrapped on filming.
Did Bride first?
Yeah, I think she wrapped on The Bride, and then within a week, immediately went and started shooting Hamnet.
Wow. Man, and that movie came out way later.
I mean, not too significantly later. I mean, Hamnet came out in what? Is that October?
October, yeah.
So 5 months, but yeah, she wrapped filming on The Bride like a week before she started shooting Hamnet. Let's go Best Actor.
We both. Well, you didn't pick this. I did. I think you picked Timothée Chalamet.
I believe I did.
I picked Michael B. Jordan.
I'll have to go back and see whether I actually predicted Michael B. Jordan or Chalamet. I know I definitely wanted Chalamet to win. That being said, of all these actors, Michael B. Jordan probably would have been my second pick. Maybe Ethan Hawke would have been my number 2, but I was happy for Michael B. Jordan though. That dude's been grinding for the last several years, and
I will say I am happier for Michael B. Jordan to have won than I would have been for Timothy had Timothy won. With that being said, Timothy is equally deserving of that win. Yeah. Had Timothy won, I would have been like, this makes complete sense. Yeah. The kid just knocked this out of the park. Mm-hmm. But in terms of pursuit, Michael B. Jordan, with the roles that are offered to black men in the industry, the opportunities that are offered for capable people are diminished in some capacity.
Yeah.
And I liken that to the fact that throughout history, you've had Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington, Will Smith, oh my gosh, Morgan Freeman, and with the eye,
Forrest Whitaker.
You've had he's Michael B. Jordan is the 6th person of color to win Best Actor, and there are plenty of movies where an actor of color should have been the winner.
Yeah.
So out of 98 Academy Awards, you've got 6 people of color that have won. So it is.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I was happy for Michael B. Jordan is that I think that even he is a very good actor, but I feel like the roles for him don't often lend themselves to being like award-worthy performances.
Yeah.
And this one was, whereas Chalamet is getting offered roles every year that could easily snag him an Oscar.
Look at what's coming up.
He very well might win for Dune Part 3.
I think he actually will win.
I think Dune Part 3 could win Best. I think it could win Best Picture.
But man, is it up against some bangers this coming year, dude?
Yeah.
We'll get into that into another episode. But what have we missed? Oh,
the only 2 we got left are Best Director and Best Picture.
Yep, which are the same person. So
Best Director, to me, this one was almost as much of a lock as Best Actress. They were not gonna not give it to PTA this year. It is insane after all these years.
Are you talking politically or deservingly?
Politically.
Okay. Because deservedly,
I think Josh Safdie should have won Best Director, honestly.
Josh Safdie and Chloe Zhao, in my opinion, are both. But yeah, Josh Safdie is probably the next, I would say the closest front runner, followed by tied for third choice with Chloe Zhao and Ryan Coogler. But
if they weren't going to give it to PTA, they were going to give it to Ryan Coogler. But this was definitely a sorry we've screwed you so many times, Oscar. Yeah, I would have given it to Josh Safdie, honestly. But yeah, PTA, he was not walking away without this award.
Yeah.
after all these years, 0 Oscar wins, and in one night he got 3.
Yeah.
He, best adapted screenplay, best director, and best picture.
Okay. Last one. We're going into best picture. The best picture winner of the evening was One Battle After Another, with Paul Thomas Anderson at the helm of that, Adam Somner, Sarah Murphy, and Paul as the producers. So, do we agree with this? Do we agree with this win?
No.
I predicted it.
I also predicted it.
I think.
Wait, did you predict it? I think
Or
we might
did I
have to go
say
back and check that
did
one.
I say
think you
Sinners?
might have predicted Sinners.
I probably did.
I know I definitely I think you did predict Sinners because I think we got in,
I probably did.
I think we were going back and forth on this one.
I'm okay with look. With that being said, I'm okay with this win.
I'm happy that Paul Thomas Anderson now has a Best Picture win. It should not have been for this movie.
No, it should have been for There Will Be Blood.
It should have been for There Will Be Blood. Or it should have been for Punch Drunk Love, or it should have been for... Actually, no, because that would have been going against Lord of the Rings. It absolutely shouldn't have beat Lord of the Rings.
Not that year, no.
Or Magnolia. Like...
In my opinion, the only movie that he has for Best Picture year by year is probably There Will Be Blood.
This is probably my 5th or 6th favorite PTA movie.
Wow. Okay.
I'd have to check my list, but this is probably like my 5th or 6th favorite PTA movie.
In terms of or if you were to quantify, like what scales you're putting or what parameters you're putting on judging a Best Picture, is it execution? Is it originality? Is it how you felt afterwards?
Almost always how I feel. Like when I'm...
If that's the case, if I'm talking about just how moved I was by a picture, my Best Picture choice would be Hamnet.
Hamnet was also would have also been my choice for Best Picture.
Now, with that being said, if my goal was to be like which one is more powerful? Do I walk out of it, how I feel like Rocky, where you're just like, I can take on the world, the little guy can win, there's a chance for me, and you're just like, hell yeah, let's go take on the world, then Sinners needs to be in that discussion. So does F1, which is why all these movies are chosen. If you're talking about originality of like, man, was that fun to be in this person's world?
Yeah.
It would be Marty Supreme.
If going off of just how I rank movies, my 3 front runners for Best Picture would have been, I would have given it to Hamnet probably.
Yep.
And my two runners up would have been F1 and Marty Supreme, because those were my 2nd and 3rd favorite movies of the year. So those would have been my front runners.
I think we have our top 3 for this year.
Our top 3 are exact same.
Yeah.
Hamnet 1, F1 2, and then Marty Supreme 3.
3, yeah. With that being said, like you said previously, I'm glad that PTA has a Best Picture under his belt now, because it is
very well deserved and long
overdue.
overdue.
The dude's Rolodex of great cinema is, he deserves to be in the conversations with the Stanley Kubricks, with the Steven Spielbergs, because of like the pieces that he's made that are just great pictures.
Yeah.
So congratulations to One Battle After Another and the team.
Overall, this was easily the best Oscars in a long, long time. Not only because they were, not only because the movies and performances and all the awards were going to movies that actually deserved it.
Deserved it, yeah.
Just them being nominated was an improvement.
Yes,
for
the nominations
for many years now, not only have the winners not been reflective of how the movies have been, the nominations aren't even there.
Right.
This year, not only were they nominated, they were actually the right movies and the right people were actually winning the awards, which has not happened in a long time, which gives me hope. But the last time that I had hope with the Oscars, they immediately let me down the following year. So
Yeah.
we'll see if they keep this trend up or whether this was just kind of a splash in the bucket. Like, hey, you had 1 year where you got it right a bunch of times and then you went back to your old ways. Hopefully that's not the case.
Well, I'm excited to jump into our next episode soon. I don't know if it'll be directly after this, but coming into what movies to expect this year. So I'm excited to talk about that. But I think that concludes us for this episode.
Yeah, we'll try and get out a movie review within the next week and a half or so for Project Hail Mary. But then after that, I don't know when we'll be posting again. Hopefully we'll be able to get rolling here soon within the next, I don't know, probably month or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, until next time.
Thank you, everybody.